What's going on, ladies and gents? Rocco Brown here from MyGamingJourney.com, and we are back with another 1v1 ranked match on the ranked ladder, of course. If you're new here, I am a House of Lancaster main. I primarily main House of Lancaster. I can play some English, some Japanese, some Ottomans as well, but primarily the vast majority of my games that you will see will be House of Lancaster games. At the time of this recording, I was a gold 3 on the ranked ladder, and I was facing off against an opponent who was gold 2. So that was the current matchup that I have for you here today. And ironically, it's a mirror match. I don't get many mirror matches myself when it comes to House of Lancaster. And it could just be me being in gold at this time, and it could be the region, etc., etc. But ironically, I would think that I would come across a lot more House of Lancaster players, but in the 1v1 ranked ladder, I don't come across a lot of them from a mirror match standpoint. So with that being said, let's dive into the game and let's see what we're working with, y'all. So I like to open up by placing my 6 villagers on my sheep that I have underneath the town center, excuse me. And then from there, I rally my next 2, maybe 3 villagers over to gold, and then I rally the remaining villagers back over to my sheep and or food, I'll just say, until I have enough to age up. So nothing too crazy at this point in time. As I mentioned, 6 on food, 1 on gold so far. We're going to see that go up to about 3 gold. And I'm just scouting around the map, getting some sheep that I come across, and then ideally see what my opponent is up to. Hopefully we wind up with a few more sheep than he does, and we'll see what happens from there. So I'm expecting my House of Lancaster opponent just by default to boom, right? Most House of Lancaster players, they're going to try to, get up to at least 6 manors before they're going up to Castle Age, etc., etc. And it is a nice go-to if you're able to pull it off. So with it being a mirror match of House of Lancaster versus House of Lancaster, I assume that was what my opponent was going to do, right? Whether he was going to go to 6 manors or try to go up to 9 before he did anything, my thought process was, I'm making this assumption about him. He's probably making the same assumption about me, that I'm going to try to boom as well. So it's just going to be a matter of who booms first and who booms quicker, right? So my thought process is let me see if I could do a little bit of pressure. And this is what my mindset going into this, because more than likely he's not going to be trying to pressure anything. He's just going to be assuming that since he's facing off against a fellow House of Lancaster player, there's not going to be any pressure that he's going to have to deal with, right? So I am aging up with Lancaster Castle. I like to take my 3 gold villagers that are on gold and age up with those 3 there. And then I'll move 3 over to stone, 3 over to wood, and I'll rally on to wood until I hit about 8, depending on the circumstance, right? So in this particular predicament, and I'm talking about 8 wood, that is. So we'll see what ends up happening, but as you can see currently, 3 on food, 4 on wood, because I just had 1 that spawned from the town center and went over to wood, and 3 on stone as of now. And of course, our 3 gold villagers are aging and building the House of Lancaster. So I see he walked away with a decent chunk of sheep, definitely a lot more than me. His scouting was a lot more on par when it comes to gathering those sheep, and I did not get nowhere near as many as I would have liked to. But that's where we're at with it, right? So I got a decent chunk, 7, nowhere near as many as him, but 7 currently. So my thought process, just to take it one step further, what I was thinking to myself, I'm scouting. I'm like, I definitely want to do some pressure. So I want to get out some demi lancers, because Yet again, he's probably going to try to boom. I'm gonna drop these sheep off. I'm gonna go back and scout a little bit more just to see where his head may or may not be at. But my thought process going into this game was I'm going to try to be a little bit more aggressive because he is probably going to try to boom, and he's not going to have any production buildings, nothing worthwhile that he's trying to do, right? So when I saw that he dropped that House of Lancaster as well, I'm gonna drop these sheep off. I'm gonna go drop my first manor, as you can see, and then I'm gonna go back down and see what he has going on at his base. So ideally, I'm pumping to get some stone because I'm like, all right, I just want 300 stone at this point in time. My plan of action is just get my 300 stone. Let me move off of wood, excuse me, off of stone, and then actually start to push for a early age up, right? So that's the thought process, y'all. So he just aged. I'm like, okay. I'm up to 190 stone, and I'm like, all right, let me drop off this stone. I'm done at this point. I got enough stone. Let me come over here and put them on food. So that's where we're at right now. I have enough for another manor. Drop this next manor and see what we're working with, y'all. So at this point in time, my opponent, I see he's, you know, typical stuff, dropping manors, dropping his, what looks like his second one. I don't see a third one at this point in time, but it looks like that's the second one. So I'm like, all right, I'm not seeing anything out of the blue here. And I'm thinking he's just going to continue to just try to get manors. So my thought process, like I told you, I want to be the aggressive one. I'm just waiting for a little bit more wood just so I can drop down that third manor. And then from there, I'm going to get my, what's it called? Some demi lancers. There we go. So dropping that third manor right now. And I'm thinking to myself, cool. Got enough wood. Let me get over on gold. And we're going to start pushing for a quick age up, right? That's the thought process. So at this point in time, still not seeing anything from him. Scouting wise, I probably should have stayed a little bit closer towards his base just to get a better idea of what he was doing, just to be safe. And I'm just saying that here, right here and now, right? 6 minutes and 20 seconds in, before I stopped gathering wood and moved all those wood villagers over on gold, it probably would have been a good idea just to see if he had anything else going on, to be on the safe side. So I got my demi lancers queued up right now. Rallying over onto gold and food is kind of what my thought process is, and I'm headed back over into his base to scout just to see if there's anything out of the blue. Not seeing anything, nothing worthwhile. Demi Lancers on the way, and boom. Let me get these bad boys across the map, and let's see what's happening, y'all. So, I'm thinking to myself, I'm probably going to catch him off guard. Not substantially, but he probably won't be expecting this, because he probably wouldn't have been expecting any units from me, you know, at this stage. So I'm like, okay. Got a little something going on. Food-wise, we're close. Gold-wise, we're close. I'm about to do some harassment. And hopefully this will prompt him to, you know, make some units. Prompt him to just not be as passive, right? So, like, alright, what's going on here? Doesn't look like he sees me yet. Got one. And two. Boom. So, okay. Didn't take too much damage. 2 workers. Cool. Happy about that. Got enough to age up now. Let's see what's going on. And I'm going to age with the King's College, because my thought process here was let me continue to push the horse agenda and get these extra upgrades with King's College that I normally wouldn't get had I went with a White Tower, right? So that's the thought process here. So I'm like, alright, let me see if there's any other damage I can get done. trying to be active, build another stable, 2 stables to be exact. But just trying to be active with these Dibby Lancers, y'all. 2 workers or villagers down, which is good. Didn't take a lot of damage. And I'm like, alright, seeing that barracks go down. Not seeing too much on this side. Let me see if I can move over and see if there's anything I can get done potentially elsewhere around on the other side, right? So, nobody on stone. Cool. Age up is almost done. Current split, 7 on food, 6 on wood, 12 on gold. What do we have here, y'all? And age up. We're there now. I see all of the manners on this end, so I'm like typical, you know, House of Lancaster player. He went for the 6 manners before he decided to do much of anything, right? Got a few out the way. Another 2. Cool, cool, cool. So, not too bad at this point. Total of 4 workers or villagers down and out. So I'm pleased with that. I think I may have just lost the 1. Was that the scout that went down, or was that an actual? No, that was a horse. Okay, so that was one of my Demi Lancers. Okay, so lost 1 Demi Lancer, 4 villager kills. Cool, not too bad at this point. So getting some upgrades. I have 2 knights coming out. Wheelbarrow, and naturally got some villagers queued up, so happy about that. So my opponent hasn't went to 3 as of yet, which is good, and I'm just starting to add a few more production buildings, 2 archery ranges. My thought process is I saw that barracks a little bit earlier on, so naturally he's going to have spearmen that he's probably mass producing just due to my Demi Lancers and my knights. So my thought process at this current moment is let's just stick with, you know, horses and archers. Right, so I see some more spearmen. Okay. Knights on the way. Wheelbarrow's almost done. And I'm queuing up some monks to go get some relics. So I'm just trying to be active, y'all. It's something I struggle with. It's a normal con that you'll hear. If you watched any of my other games, you know I like to go over the pros and the cons. And one of the cons is I'm not active, right, in regards to just being on the map and being present, scouting around, seeing what's going on, so I can lag in that regard, you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to be a little bit more present, a little bit more active, and just seeing things that I can take advantage of and go from there. So wheelbarrow's done. Another night on the way to archers, 12 villagers, cool. Horticulture, I'm just adding in economic upgrades here and there. Still on 3 manners, y'all, so I would say that's a con at this point. Like, I feel like I was setting out and doing what I plan to do for my particular mission, right? I'm getting units out, I'm being active on the map, getting my upgrades, but one of those things that I probably should have got a little bit sooner should have been condensed land practices, and I did not. So my thought process was, it's not the most amazing fight, y'all, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, I can clear up these what's it called? So naturally you don't want to take fights against spearmen with horses, right? Not a good engagement. But I knew I had a lot more horses. I knew I had upgrades, so I'm like, and I'm not talking about blacksmith upgrades. I'm talking about, you know, just the upgrades from the King's College so far. So I'm like, I know I can get a few things done, to say the least, right? So, not a fight that I advise anyone to take. Yes, I do know better, but I'm like, I can clear some of these up before those numbers even get higher, to say the least, right? So I'm finally getting condensed land practices. I'm behind on manners. But I think we have our first relic that's about to be dropped at this point. Let me double check. Yeah, I'm about to drop the first one now. And then we'll be making our way over to the second one. So, nothing too crazy, yeah. Nothing too crazy. My split's 13 on food, 11 on wood, 12 on gold. Cool. where we're currently at, and I'm like, alright, let me get a little bit more active with these knights, just to see if there's anything on either of these sides that I could do something with. Idle villagers, don't be like me, y'all, be better. 13 idle villagers, I don't know why, and where they're idle at. Probably my food sources if I was the guest, just looking at things here and now, but I don't even realize they're idle at this point, y'all, and that's the sad part, right? Idle for days. So I opted to drop down a second TC. Still haven't dropped down any more manors as of yet, but I'm like, alright, let me just try to get further ahead, to say the least. I know I'm ahead unit-wise. I know he's not working with much, to say the least, at this moment in time from what I saw, because I killed all his existing army that I knew about, right? So, like, okay. Anything. Like, alright, see a lot more spearmen, cool. Let me get up out of here. Let's take it to the other side, y'all. And just realized that I had idle villagers for a whole probably 3-4 minutes at this point. Don't be like me. Be better, y'all. Please. So as you can see, I am taking, in addition to taking relics, I'm taking sacreds at this moment in time, because my thought process is alright, you're sitting back, you're booming, let me force you to come out on this map and engage me, right? So if I'm keeping up the pressure on him, as you can see, I'm trying to keep up the pressure and actually fight and take the fight to him in his base. But in addition to that, I want to secure my win condition even more by taking sacreds. So by taking sacreds, by default, if he doesn't come out, I'm going to win as well, right? So that's kind of the thought process at this point in time. So okay, I'm like, all right, spearmen, get that nice little monk out the way. Now we got spearmen and we have springles, right? So now I'm like, alright, I'm going to keep streaming units across just to take that fight. And in addition to taking that fight, I have my knights coming up as well, y'all. So I'm like, let me come over here and engage this, and additionally get that those springles out of there, because I don't want those numbers to start going up and getting crazy, springle wise. So here we are. Like, let me clean all of this up. Like, I don't want those springles leaving. I was like, I'll risk taking some damage just to get those done and out the way. So 5 manors out of the 6, starting to knock out and get actual upgrades. Naturally, some of these are still, of course, from King's College, but where's it at? Actually didn't drop down a blacksmith yet, y'all. So just veterancy upgrades, it looks like. So, not too bad. I think our 6 manor is going down as we speak. Getting veterancy, billmen, military tactics, a few things here and there. I'm currently at 62 villagers, just out of curiosity. Let me pause this really quickly. What's our opponent at? 50, so I'm beating him by 12 villagers. Okay, not too bad, yo. I'm just trying to be active out here, right? So, saw that he's trying to neutralize the 1 sacred, which is smart. He's like, alright, come out and get on this, get on the map. I'm starting to produce some springles of my own, because naturally I want to match springles with springles, and in addition to that, starting to get out some of my own infantry units as well, because he's just mass producing spearmen, right? So I'm like, alright, let me start getting some upgrades. I have units, but I don't want to fall behind in upgrades. So, I destroyed the units that he had on this sacred up here, so he's no longer capping that, which is good. Um, and I'm taking some workers, y'all, to build a cat. Yeah, okay, I just want to make sure I can see that. So the plan is to build a castle over there because I know he's running low on gold on that side. So I'm like, let me come over here and let me actually take and secure his resources over there, right? So that's the thought process, and I guess it was a good thought process because he ends up quitting. So that was the game, y'all. So I was yet again gold 3 at the time of this, still currently gold 3, but gold 3 as well at the time of this recording, and my opponent was gold 2. So yeah, come over there to get his resources and secure those and get those out the way. So let's take a quick look and let's dive into some pros and some cons, right? So it was this game. So this was our gentleman that we played against. Let's take a quick look at the timeline. Timeline wise, I feel like I did pretty decently. Now, timeline, this is irrelevant. We'll get into the more important stats. And I say irrelevant to me personally, right? Someone who's a bit higher level and really is intrigued with it. Like, don't get me wrong, timeline, it's definitely good to see where I may have went, 2 or went 3 before him, the amount of time ahead of time. But we'll be able to see more of that in depth as we jump into the stats, right? So timeline, I'm ahead. How quickly did I go? No, we'll see that in a moment because I want to see how quickly I went age 3. I think I beat him by like 2-3 minutes. So total score, misleading always in my humble opinion, but naturally I was up there. Military economy, tech, society. So let's dive into things a little bit more. So I killed 56 and only lost 19. And my largest army was 97, right? So that's a plus. Let's dive into economy. I was ahead in just total overall, but he was beating me in food and wood. I was winning in stone and gold. He was matching just for food per minute. He was beating me there, wood per minute. I thought I had no, because even with the second town center, he was ahead with manners longer than I was, right? So he had more manners than me. Um, he had, I guess we'll say he had more manners quicker than I did. So yeah, his food is what product. Because I felt like I know I was beating him with the amount of villagers I had. But even with my 2 TCs, my second TC was only going to the gold and the stone that was around it. So yeah, I would have been behind in food and wood. Okay, that makes sense. Um, what else? Technology wise, my tech score, I went to age 2. Okay, so I beat him a little over 30 seconds. And then this was what I was looking for. My time to age 3. I beat him by close to 3 minutes. So I was on it in that regard. I'm happy about that. Research wise, okay, so even our research was close. I thought I would have had a little bit more than him, but that's okay. And then society wise, I only ended up getting 2 relics. That was my fault. I definitely could have got more, but I got so sidetracked that I didn't have my other monk, the one who was collecting relics. I didn't have him continue to go on and get additional ones. My multitasking is not great. Well, let me not say that. Well, no. I'm accurate in saying that. My multitasking is not great, and I say that from the sense of there's a lot of things in my head that I want to do, but my APM just doesn't support the decision making. Right? I just put it like that. Villagers, I'm very pleased with this because vast majority of the time I'll idle and I'll stop making villagers, not intentionally. It's just that I'm always producing something. You'll hear me say that often. So I may subconsciously stop producing villagers, but I'm producing army, right? But those I need to always be producing villagers, right? So that's a mistake that I often make. Idle villager time, 49 seconds. I'm not gonna lie. Looking back on the replay, it looked like they were idle for 49 minutes, y'all. Like that eh. And a lot of the times it'll happen and I won't even realize it until it's too late, which is unfortunate. And not just 5 seconds too late or 2 seconds too late, 49 seconds too late. There's times, other times where it'll be even longer than that, unfortunately. So let's talk about pros, right? Pros, we'll come back down and we'll just take a look stat wise, just kind of support what's going on. So pro wise, the first thing that I would say is I was more active than I usually am. Like I like to be out on the map. I like to scout. But there will come a time where I may have units that are just chilling. For example, knights, demi lancers, whatever the case may be, and I could be using them to roam around the map, see what I can get done, see what scouting is available, just to keep eyes on my opponent, etc., etc. You get the point, right? This particular game, I felt like I did that for the full 18, 19 minutes. Like I don't feel like and it may not have been the best, right? Like I'm not saying that my being active and present on the map was conquer level, right? At all. But I can say that I was still active and present on the map regardless. So that felt good to me, right? So that was a pro. I felt like I had, pretty good not only vision on the map, but I was active in trying to get damage done, and continually putting pressure on my opponent. So that would be the first pro. Second pro would just be the capturing the relics. Even though I didn't get all of them and I didn't get more than I would have liked to get, I did walk away with at least two, and my opponent walked away with zero. So I did end up, offing the first, his first monk, when he was trying to, get out there and get relics. And I did see another monk, that was making its way, but that was right before he ended up quitting out the game. So it didn't look like, well, obviously he didn't get his hands on it, but I did, deny relics from him as well. As I mentioned earlier, one of the things that I tend to fall short on is just villager production. So I did beat my opponent by over 10 vills, which is cool to me. Like I'm happy about that. I did end up with a second TC, and we did end up with the same amount of manners. Let me not say that because he may have ended up going up to 9 manners. I don't remember, but I did walk away. I did have 2 TC, and I did have at least 6 manners, so that was cool, right? Um, so what else? Um, what else? What else? What else? Any other pros that I want to lump in the pro category? No, no, we'll be modest and we'll be humble and we'll stop there, right? Map awareness and actually taking the fight to my opponent, as I mentioned, number one, or I should just say presence on the map. Number two would be capturing the relics. Number three would be villager production, right? So those would be the three big things, right? From a pro standpoint. Con wise, con for me would be idle villagers, right? That's something I still struggle with tremendously, and I wish I would just notice it sooner. Unfortunately, I don't always notice it until it's too late. And anytime, in my humble opinion, anytime over 5-10 seconds is too late. 49 seconds of idle villagers is beyond too late, ladies and gents. And I have games where you've seen where I've had, villagers idle for over a minute, just not realizing, unfortunately, right? So, idle villagers would be the number one con for me this game, right? Um, Number two would the probably would be the research count, right? For me to go ahead as quickly as I did, and naturally, when I say go ahead, going fast castle, right? Now, getting fast castle doesn't just automatically equate to having the resources to upgrade things, right? But I feel like with the amount of pressure I was putting on or attempting to put on, and the actual damage I was getting done, right? I know for a fact we ended up getting 4 workers out the way. bare minimum. I think there may have been a few more, but there's 4 that I know for certain that we were able to knock out, right? I feel like research wise with 2TC, the amount that I had, gold coming in, there should have been more that this number should look a lot higher in my humble opinion as opposed to his 13. Could be wrong. Could just be my limited gold knowledge at this point in time. Gold, high gold, low platinum. Could just be my limited knowledge in that regard. But I feel like, the number wise is a bit low, to say the least. Right. So I don't feel like my research count, I feel like I slacked there. Right. So idle villagers, low research count. What else, y'all? I feel like this was an overall decent game. Is there anything else that comes to mind? I would say the last thing, and it's a con, right? But it's a con that I'm aware of. It's specific to this game. Like the majority of the time, I'll have cons that translate game to game. Idle villagers, low villager production count, not being present on the map. Those are things that I'm continually trying to work on, and I'm aware of those. For this particular game, even though it was self-inflicted and something I did intentionally, I would say taking the fight with my demi lancers and my knights fighting against the 4 or 5 spearmen that he had. Might have been 6 spearmen, right? Not a good engagement at all. That's the direct hard counter to the knights, demi lancers, just cavalry in general, being spearmen. I took the fight though because I knew I had a decent chunk. I knew I had the upgrades, and I felt like let me, just take this engagement just to dwindle those down so he does not continue to build up that spearman ball, right? So I could have easily did that with my archers because I had archers and crossbowmen, coming down to assist, and even they got there and took fight in the battle. They just took fight took part a little bit later because I had already engaged with the cavalry. So I would say another con. I did not have to take that fight, but my brilliance and my thought process was, air quotes, brilliant was let me dwindle down these numbers because I can afford to do so, right? So that was the thought process, ladies and gents. So with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you. That wraps up the not only the replay, but the pros and cons and the synopsis for this particular game. Definitely be on the look, not only for the next video that I post up, but definitely check out the other videos that have been posted and just get an idea of where we're at. And when I say where we're at, this is a collective. I'm relying on y'all as well. So you can see my performance in all of the games, all of the past ones, this current one. Dive in the comments section. Please feel free to leave your thoughts below because I am truly trying to improve. The only thing is I ask that you be respectful, number one, and number two, keep the comments on topic, y'all. I don't want to have a bunch of random comments about a bunch of random nothing, right? I want things to be on topic. Please give me your thoughts, your comments, your questions, your concerns, all of the above. I'm looking forward to them because I am trying to continually get better, to say the least. In addition to that, you will see some other links down in the description. Number one, my gaming journal, or the very first link you're going to see is going to be the accompanying blog post for this particular game in this video. That link will take you over to the blog post over on mygamingjourney.com. That will have the YouTube video there. That will have the additional content, the additional screenshots, the additional breakdown, a lot of it additional information there as well. So on mygamingjourney.com, you'll see that'll be the very first link up to the particular blog post. In addition to that, you'll see that I also stream on mygamingjourney.com. I stream on Twitch. I stream on Kick. So you'll be able to follow, tune in, and hang out with me live while we play these games live. Give me some feedback live, and we can definitely improve and get better together, ladies and gents. In addition to that, I definitely appreciate y'all. Feel free to like, follow, share, subscribe. Definitely, as I mentioned, follow and subscribe over on Twitch and Kick as well. Definitely check out the stream over on mygamingjourney.com. And there's a lot of other additional information over there as well. That's my little pet project, and it has it's the central hub for everything. So with that being said, until next time, ladies and gents, I appreciate each and every one of you. God willingly, we can do this again another time. And yeah, man, don't be like me. Be better. Appreciate y'all. Take care.